Hello, and welcome to Bry's Book and Film. The film I'm talking about today is Brewster's Millions from 1985, with a runtime of 101 minutes, released on May the 22nd, 1985, with a budget of $15 million, and it took in $45.8 million at the box office. Directed by Walter Hill. Now, what we've got is Richard Pryor playing Monty Brewster. John Candy plays his little mate, Spike Nolan. Lynette McKee plays Angela Drake. Stephen Collins plays Warren Cox. Jerry Orbach plays Charlie Pegler. And Joe Grafasi plays J.B. Donaldo. Joe Grafasi's one of those faces. Even I looked, and I thought, well, I've seen this fella before, and I have. So he's one of those faces. So what we've got is Monty Brewster. He's a bit of a no-mark, really. He's a baseball player for a little minor team. He's the pitcher, and his little mate Spike is the pitcher catcher. It was inevitable as a joke, wasn't it? What would be called, I suppose, in cricket, the wicket keeper. There is a proper baseball term for it, but I don't know what it is. So anyway, they're playing against a team, and Monty spots a fella taking photographs from the stands, and he's convinced it's a talent scout. Now, keep in mind, Monty Brewster he's got to be well into his 40s by now, and he thinks he's going to be scouted for some big team. He's got the Mets and the Yankees in mind, because that's what they often do, is they often scout old boy players from Mickey Mouse teams. Anyway, so it turns out that the photographer is J.B. Donaldo, and he's been sent. He's a bit of a private investigator, I suppose. He's been sent to track down Monty, who is the last surviving relative of Uncle Rupert, a very rich man who has got no other surviving relatives to leave all this money to. He's got $330 million, and that's a shed load of money. If you take into account inflation, even by today's standards, that's got to be close to $1 billion, I suppose, which is a very lot. So the deal is, they play a video. Monty gets separated from his little mate Spike, who goes with him. He waits in the waiting room with the private eye, J.B. Donaldo, and it's in the meeting with the law firm that he discovers he's got a choice. He can either take a $1 million walk-away fee, a $1 million thing, walk away, or a much more exciting offer of, you've got 30 days to spend $30 million. Now, I've just looked, and $30 million back in 1985 is it's between 90 million and $105 million, which is such a lot of money. When you think $30 million, that's, to pay your gas bill nowadays, that's most of that gone. So spend $30 million, with the idea being he's going to be so sick of money and spending money and everything to do with money that if he does get the 300 million, he won't want to spend any money ever again, because he'll be sick to the back teeth of it. So he decides he's going to take now, there are some caveats to this. There's always caveats. There's always conditions. Now, he's not allowed to own anything once the 30 days are up. So he's not allowed any assets, and he's not allowed any cars or watches. He's got to turn back up in 30 days in exactly what he's wearing, the clothes on his back, because he doesn't really own much. He can donate 5% to charity, and he can gamble 5%. He can't just simply give the money away. He's got to get some sort of value for it. And he can't destroy anything inherently valuable, because in the video, Uncle Rupert says, I suppose you think you're going to buy a load of Picassos and just use them as firewood. And he says, you're not allowed to do that either. You're not allowed to destroy anything inherently valuable like paintings, etc. So Monty's up for the challenge. He's game on for the challenge. So he starts off by employing a load of security guards and employing a JB Donaldson as his official photographer. So he can employ people and he can get value from it that way. Meanwhile, there's a subplot. Now, there is a subplot. The accountant from the law firm, she's a paralegal, is Angela Drake. And Monty decides he really likes Miss Drake and he starts to fall hard for Miss Drake. But she's going out with Warren Cox, the snidey, creepy lawyer. So she's not interested in Monty. She because she doesn't know, because it's got to be kept top secret. Monty's not allowed to tell anybody at all. So she just thinks he's being a big shot, a flash Charlie Big Potatoes type of person, when he's not. He's really not. He's just trying to fulfill his side of this arrangement. So that's sort of one little subplot that we've got. But what we also have then is when Monty discovers that Angela Drake is going out with Warren, who he wants to redecorate this hotel penthouse he's staying in, and it turns out that Warren's ex-wife is an interior designer, so he decides he's going to pay her $100,000 a week or something to restyle this penthouse. And then Warren gets involved. He says, I'll pay you some ridiculous amount of money, like $50,000 a week, to be, So he has to ask the law firm that he worked for a leave of absence. And the two men in charge decide to employ Warren Cox as a snidey double agent to try and trip him up right at the end to keep something back. He ends up with a $20,000 envelope full of money to try and snide him over at the end. So that's another subplot. His film's nearly as old as I am, so I'm there's no spoilers really. And if you haven't watched it by now, it's tough really. You probably will get a spoiler. Now let's have a look. Let's see what else I've written on my notes. I've actually written notes. So Warren is the double agent trying to trip Monty up right at the end, so the law firm gets the money, because if Monty fails, the law firm keep the money. And of course, $300 million is a lot of money. Even $300 million is a lot. So they want this because they're lawyers and they're scumbags. He does all kinds of things. He employs a load of security guards. He employs JB Donaldo as his photographer. He employs his friend Spike as his little mate. He tries to employ... Meanwhile, all his friends, Spike... Monty gets approached by somebody that wants to tow an iceberg from the Arctic Circle down to, I think, Saudi Arabia, to put water in the desert for the Arab farmers. And they're trying to say, no, there are no Arab farmers in the desert because it's the desert. But he decides to go ahead anyway. And then a petrochemical firm get hold of the idea and they want to buy it. So Spike sells the idea and they make loads of money. Monty also puts a load of money on horses, long shot horses. He says to a bookie, all the long shots you can think of, 50 grand each, whatever it is, and they all win. The bookie comes back with a sack full of cash and says, you can't place any more bets in this city anymore. That's it, you're done. So there's that happening. There's money sort of coming back in when he really doesn't want it to come back in. He's got to spend it. He's got to go. He also arranges an exhibition game against the New York Yankees just so he can play against them and say he has, which of course costs a lot of money. He flies his team from one place to the other and then buses them back, and anything to try and waste as much money as he can. And it does look excessive. And he's paying for food for everyone, and he's, right at the end, the security guard and the other employees have a whip round for him, because by now Monty Brewster is absolutely broke. And he says, "No, I don't want it. I'm just going to drink this bottle of champagne and get mangled, because he knows tomorrow is the last day and he's got 38 grand left." So let's just check I've not missed anything off my notes. Yeah. Did I mention that he runs for election with the none of the above campaign? Just a silly way to try and lose money. But then it starts to gain traction, and he says something defamatory, I think, against the two other candidates, who then threatened to sue him with a lawsuit. But then he settled out of court for $4 million each, so that's very convenient. Then so he pulls out of that election race, and then the election has to be restarted, but the two other candidates are not involved anymore. So no harm, no foul, really, because they were both probably a bit dodgy. Now, this is a film that you can watch with your gran in the room. There's no profanity in the film. There's no nudity or lewd behaviour in the film, so you could comfortably watch this with your gran in the room. Your gran probably watched it at the time when it first came out, of course. Brewster's Millions is a really good film, and it's so good I'm going to give it four hot coffee cups, because it is that good. I mean, there's no sort of good versus evil sort of plot. Well, I suppose there is a subplot, because you've got the evil lawyer Warren Cox plotting against the good guy Monty Brewster. So anyway, you could watch this film with your gran in the room, 4 coffee cups, and that's decent. On the last day, Monty's woken up at 3 PM, because it's time for him to get out of the hotel that he took over for about $1 million a week or something. And he discovers everyone's gone and he's all on his own. He's all alone. The clothing people are taking back all the silk suits and stuff that he's leased. So they're just racking everything up, and he's left with his baseball shirt, baseball jersey that he had, and the jeans he was wearing, and he's in his old beat up trainers. So he goes to the law office. He's caught up by Warren Cox, who says, "Great news! I've got 20 grand of yours here. It was an oversight on my part, and I'm really sorry." And Monty's all just about out now. He's just about given up. He's out of steam. He's out of puff. He's all done, and he's just about to sign the contract to say, I've not done it. I don't need the money. And he manages to wriggle out. He manages to wriggle out and get rid of this $20,000, and effectively steal the heart of Angela Drake, the accountant, as well, the paralegal. So, all's well that ends well. It's one of those films, they do live happily ever after. It's a nice paced film. There's no languishing in the middle. It's a good pace, not too fast, so you're losing track of what's going on, but nice, and it runs along at a fair clip. It's a decent film. I've given it 4 coffee cups, so that's got to tell you something. 4 coffee cups. You could watch it with your gran in the room. Brewster's Millions from 1985. I watched it just now on YouTube. It was free on YouTube, with ads, of course. But what can you do? occasional advert doesn't really hurt anybody. But it was on YouTube. I suppose what I could do, if I remember, is put a link in the box below for the film that I just watched. If I remember, of course. So Brewster's Millions from 1985. Do yourselves a favour. If you've not seen it, give it a watch. It's that good. 4 coffee cups. Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.